All right, so welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. And today, we are going to be taking a look at Surah Al-Infitar from the Quran. Now, this surah, it really kind of hits the ground running with this really kind of vivid description of the Day of Judgment. And it really gets you thinking about, like, what happens when the universe as we know it basically just ends.
Like like everything's over.
Right. And it's not like
it's not a gentle.
It's not like a fade out.
No, it's not like it's not like things are slowly winding down.
Yeah.
The imagery that's used in the surah is incredibly powerful.
Right.
You have the sky splitting open.
Yeah.
You have the planets scattering. The oceans are boiling over.
Yeah.
It's a complete and total cosmic upheaval.
Right.
That really drives home the magnitude of this event.
Right. Like, just how big?
Like, how big is this? The Day of Judgment.
Yeah. And in the midst of all of this, the surah zooms in on the individual.
Right.
And basically says, each soul will know what it has put forward and what it has held back.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Right.
Like, imagine that. Like, every single
thing.
Every action, every choice you've ever made
is laid bare.
Is just there.
Right there.
I mean, is there even...
You can't hide from it.
Is there even room for regret at that point?
That's a good question.
Or is it just like pure understanding? Like,
It's probably just pure understanding.
You just know.
At that point, you know everything.
Yeah.
And you know why things happened the way they did.
Right. And you know why you made the choices you made.
Exactly. And you know the consequences of those choices.
I wonder if there would be any, like,
I don't know.
surprise, or if it would just be like...
It might just be acceptance.
Yeah.
At that point.
Right.
This is it. You just know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what the surah is emphasizing here.
Right.
Is this idea of complete self-awareness.
Right.
There's no hiding. There's no justification.
Like you said, everything's laid bare.
Everything is just out there.
It makes me think about, like, how often do we go through life?
We're constantly trying to forget things.
Yeah, or downplay them.
Or downplay the consequences of what we've done.
Oh, totally, yeah. Like, it didn't really affect anybody. It didn't really...
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, or I didn't mean it like
exactly.
like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the surah, it asks mankind this really pointed question. It says, oh man, what has deluded you concerning your Lord the most generous?
Right.
Like, wow, that's...
What a powerful question.
It's such a... like, it makes you stop and think about...
It's a challenge to reflect...
about our relationship.
On our relationship with God.
Yeah, with God.
Especially in light of all the things he's done for us.
Right, like his creation. His care for us.
His mercy.
His generosity.
Being like, why are we behaving this way?
Why are we turning away from that?
Right.
Why are we so focused on these other things that are ultimately fleeting?
Right.
When we have something so much greater.
Yeah. Like, this is what's important.
This could be focusing on.
This is the big picture.
Yeah.
This is the thing that should be driving us.
Absolutely.
And so the surah highlights these attributes of God, like creation, information, proportioning, assembling humans according to his will, right? Like, all of these things.
It's a reminder that we are...
Like, he made us.
We are dependent on him for our very existence.
But here's where I get a little bit stuck.
Okay.
The surah talks about people rejecting faith.
Right.
Even though they have these watchers.
These honest recorders who are constantly observing.
Right.
And noting everything they do.
Like angels.
Right, like angels.
Yeah.
So knowing that, how could you reject faith?
That's where the concept of free will comes in.
Okay.
So the surah doesn't explicitly say that.
Right.
But that's the understanding in Islamic theology, that while God knows everything, we still have the choice.
To believe or not.
To believe or not.
Yeah.
That's up to us.
But it seems like it would be so much easier to just believe.
You would think so, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's part of what makes our choices meaningful.
Okay.
Is that we have that freedom.
So it's not just like preordained, like you're going to do this.
It's not just a script that we're following. We have genuine agency.
And that ties back into what we were talking about earlier with the
individual accountability.
Right? Because if you're not really making your choices,
if you don't have that freedom,
but then how can you be held accountable?
Right. Then it doesn't really matter what you do.
Yeah. But the surah doesn't just leave it at that.
No, it doesn't.
It goes on to describe some pretty
intense contrasts.
Yeah. in what awaits people on the Day of Judgment.
Right. So, it describes bliss for the virtuous and the torment of hell for the wicked.
Right.
And it very clearly connects these outcomes to the Day of Justice.
Right. So this ultimate
moment of reckoning.
Yeah.
Where actions have very real consequences.
Not just
in this life.
In this life.
But in the next.
Eternally.
And
the surah really hammers home the importance of this day by repeating the phrase Day of Justice.
Multiple times.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not just an event.
It's the focal point.
It's
everything.
It's the culmination.
It's what everything is leading toward.
Right.
And I think that repetition really amplifies the significance of it.
Right.
And also the mystery of it.
The mystery.
Because we know it's coming.
We're told it's coming.
It's inevitable. We don't know when.
Right. Like that's a scary thought.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
Like what if it was tomorrow?
Or what if it was in 1,000 years?
Right. Exactly.
Let go.
And this part always makes me stop and think.
Yeah.
The surah states that on the Day of Justice, no soul will avail another soul anything.
Right.
And the decision on that day is Allah's.
Yeah.
Like that's
very close.
A very stark picture of divine judgment.
It is.
Like there's no
working the system.
No appeals.
Yeah.
No
loopholes.
Yeah. No loopholes.
You can't bribe your way out of it.
Right. It's just
you and your actions.
Yeah.
What you chose to do with your life.
And that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's a powerful message.
So we've gone from this image of like the universe in upheaval to this like intensely personal reckoning. And ultimately
to the absolute authority of God.
Right, the absolute authority of God.
On the Day of Judgment.
On the Day of Judgment.
It's quite a journey.
It is in just a few verses. So if we take a step back from all of that, it really leaves us with a pretty powerful question.
It does.
If we truly believed that we were constantly being watched and our actions recorded,
how would that change?
How would it change?
The way we live our lives today.
Yeah.
What choices would we make differently?
Right.
If we knew that everything was being documented?
Now, that's something to think about.
It is.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope it's given you a new perspective on Surah Al-Infitar.
I hope so too.
And maybe even spark some reflection on your own life.
Absolutely.
Until next time.
Take care.